Mandla. Comrades, thank you very much.
Thank you, DP. Mandla. Viva ANC Youth League, viva. Maikule ANC Youth League, Maikule. Maikini ANC Youth League, Maikine. Hai hule ANC Youth League, hai hule. Hai tie ANC Youth League, hai tie. Mata. Viva the African National Congress, viva. Hai tie ANC, hai tie. Hai hule ANC, hai hule. Viva South African Communist Party, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva SANCO, viva. Viva Youth Alliance, viva. Thank you, Comrade Program Director, Comrade Deputy President, President of the ANC Youth League, Comrade Colin Malachi, Secretary General of the ANC Youth League, Comrade Mtuoko Longule, all officials of the ANC Youth League, members of the ANC Youth League National Executive Committee, Chairperson of the ANC in the Northern Cape Province, Comrade Zamani Sol, and other PEC members who are present with us today. Members of the National Executive Committee of the ANC who are present here with us, leadership of the Progressive Youth Alliance, leadership of provinces, regions, zones, and branches of the ANC Youth League, leaders of the NEC, SACP, COSATU, SANCO, and the Veterans League, leaders of fraternal organizations who are here with us and invited guests, and those who gave us all the messages of support, members of the diplomatic corps and ambassadors who are here with us, fellow compatriots. Good afternoon, goeiemiddag, sanibonani, molweni, inhlekani, ndimasiari. Comrades, on behalf of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, I am pleased to join you here today at this second National General Council of the African National Congress Youth League. Allow me, comrades, to start by conveying our sincere condolences to the family of Comrade Nkateko Mboma, who was gunned down when their transport was attacked by criminals on their way to this NGC. We call upon the police and the criminal justice system to ensure that these criminals receive the harshest punishment. I'm told, comrades, that 2 people have already been arrested. May his revolutionary spirit rest in eternal peace. I also wish the other comrades who were affected by this incident a speedy recovery. Let me begin by reminding you that the ANC is weaker without a strong and vibrant ANC Youth League. The ANC Youth League can do the following things. It can get young people to support the ANC's past and present mission and championing the needs and aspirations of the youth of South Africa. The African National Congress Youth League was formed in 1944 by, amongst others, Anton Lembede, who became its first president, Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, A.P. Mda, Oliver Tambo, and William Nkomo. This generation of youth established the ANC Youth League at the time as a body to focus on the deployment of young people, on the development rather of young people to make a meaningful contribution to the growth and development of the ANC and society in general. At the time of its formation, the ANC Youth League, at the time of its formation, the ANC Youth League realized that the ANC itself was at its weakest. The formation of the ANC Youth League thus led to the transformation of the ANC into a formidable and more radical organization leading mass struggles against colonialism and apartheid. It led to the ANC adopting a radical program of action in 1949 and later embarked on a defiance campaign with other progressive forces in 1952. It was because of the influence of the newly formed ANC Youth League that the process of developing and ultimately adopting the Freedom Charter was initiated, leading to the eventual adoption of the Freedom Charter as a policy document framing the outlook of the ANC and that of a democratic South Africa. As the ANC, we continue to view the ANC Youth League as a political preparatory school of young activists of the ANC. More importantly, we view the ANC Youth League as a critical mass in shaping the ANC policy outlook. We believe that the convening of this second NGC of the ANC Youth League provides an opportunity for us to collectively reflect and respond to the socio-economic and organizational challenges that confront us. This second NGC must emerge with a 10-point plan similar to the one by Nelson Mandela that the ANC will implement through the government machinery. As the ANC, we stand ready to carry forward the task that will emerge from this NGC. We make a commitment because we believe that the youth led by the ANC Youth League is best positioned to develop a plan that will guide both the ANC and the nation's future in the manner similar to that of the youth of the 1940s. We are equally making this commitment because there is evidence to the fact that consistently the ANC Youth League has played this role effectively, informed by different conditions of struggle for the liberation of South Africa. Comrades delegates, The growth and development of the ANC is due to the visionary leadership and bravery of the leadership of the ANC Youth League to date. The ANC Youth League is still as relevant as it was when it was formed in 1944. The leadership of the ANC Youth League in different phases or epochs of struggle has taken it upon itself to ensure that there is nothing about the youth without the youth. This has been done historically within the structures of the ANC because the ANC remains the strategic center of power and the leader of the National Democratic Revolution. Fundamentally, it is of necessity that the ANC Youth League must never lose its revolutionary compass that sets it apart from not only the ANC and its partners, but also from other youth organizations in the South African political landscape. The Youth League must continue to play this role, particularly in strengthening the ANC and preserving the status of the ANC as a champion of the motive forces of the revolution, driving change towards the society we aspire to, a society that is non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous. Comrades, delegates, we must consider that this second National General Council is being held in the aftermath of the 2024 general elections. In those elections, the ANC suffered a strategic setback, receiving 40% of electoral support. We must take into account that the gap between eligibility and registration has been between 6 and 8 million since 1999, and it increased to 10 million by 2019. By the year 2024, the figure had escalated to 12 million people. From 80% in 2014 and 72% in 2019, the registration level in 2024 was only 69.9%. Another critical factor is that voter turnout has also been declining. It was 58.6% in 2024, compared to 89% in 1999, 77% in 2004, and 2009, 74% in 2014, and 66% in 2019. Additionally, across provinces, the lowest turnout was in the Northwest Province, followed by Limpopo and the Eastern Cape. Comrade President, in terms of age categories, the younger cohorts remains underrepresented. MISTRA study suggests that the reason for youth underrepresentations are due to poor political engagement by young people, including their lack of participation in civic organizational activities, even participating in voting during the elections. There has also been various research institutions that have been releasing data, including Ipsos, which suggests that 8 in 10 South Africans say the country is heading in the wrong direction. This means, comrades, there is a greater need for us to restore confidence, not just through speeches, but through action. The study concludes that the upcoming local government elections in 2026 will be a crucial test, not just of parties or politics, but of whether South African democracy can evolve to meet citizens' clear demand for competent, collaborative governance that delivers services. The challenge before us as the ANC is to translate the public's appetite for collaboration into the effective leadership that South Africans urgently need. Comrade delegates, the question is, how do we turn the corner? What can we do to ensure that the youth are actively involved in their own development? I suppose this is one of the tasks that this NGC will confront. We must further acknowledge that despite our considerable progress in tackling the issues of unemployment, poverty, and inequality, the economy remains stagnant and fails to generate the jobs necessary to absorb our youth. Nonetheless, we have made commitment to transform the economy through various initiatives, policies, and programs such as Operation Vulindlela. These include investments in energy reform to ensure long-term energy security through market restructuring and grid expansion. We are also investing in water reforms to guarantee sustainable access to quality water through institutional transformation and investments. Furthermore, we are investing in freight logistics reform to restore efficiency in the rail and port systems and unlock export growth. Key among these reforms is the visa system reform, which has helped attract global talent and invest support to ensure economic expansion and attracting tourism in the country. Similarly, we are making good progress with the local government reforms aiming to strengthen basic service delivery and financial sustainability of municipalities. This, comrade delegates, is a very, very critical area because our municipalities are at the coal face of delivery. They are the closest to our people. And over the past months, that's where we have had a lot of difficulties. So we must fix these municipalities, including ensuring that those people who are appointed who are incompetent must be removed. Whether they are councillors of the ANC or officials, if they are incompetent, they must be removed. Comrade delegates, this engagement is complemented by spatial integration and housing reforms that we are doing, enabling us to create integrated dynamic cities that foster inclusive growth and job creation. The last other intervention is that we are investing in digital public infrastructure reforms to harness digital technologies, improve service delivery, and unlock new opportunities. We don't want the youth of our country to be left behind as the world is now embarking in a digital economy. We are pleased that in response to these initiatives and reforms, there is marginal growth of 0.1% in the first quarter of this year, and real GDP growth has strengthened in the second quarter to 0.8%. But this is not enough. To create the kind of jobs we need, the economy needs to grow at a much higher level. This growth was driven by manufacturing, mining, and trade sectors, with household consumption also contributing positively. Nevertheless, comrades, our economic growth, as I said, is not consistently creating enough jobs to keep pace with the growing number of working age individuals that are coming into the labor market. The issues mentioned above are the real matters we believe should be included in the deliberations with the aim of reaching very clear solutions. As progressive activists across the board, we must never betray the commitment that we have towards a national democratic society. This requires that we continue to strengthen the ANC and enhance capacity to build a developmental state has the capacity and political will to redirect resources towards the development and growth of our people. More importantly, Black Africans, the working class, women, the LGBTQIA+, and other systematically isolated and marginalized groups. This National General Council must serve as a political platform for youth activists of the ANC under the leadership of the ANC Youth League, and an autonomous body of the ANC to reflect, strategize, and shape a vibrant and relevant mass of young people with a political consciousness. It will turn the tide for the majority of the youth in South Africa. More importantly, it must allow the youth to debate robustly on key strategic political issues towards our shared future. Globally and nationally, there are various shifts in the geopolitical and economic landscape which are related to, amongst other things, climate change, technological advancement, gender inequality, and inadequate opportunities for the youth, more specifically in a context that is primarily affected by what is known as the youth bulge, a phenomenon that depicts a high population amongst the youth between ages of 15 and 25. Comrades, this must happen because the ANC Youth League has a task to broaden its base and deepen its political and organizational strength, as well as that of the ANC, to lead society effectively. The ANC Youth League, NGC, like other conferences, must be determined to resolve the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. The resolution of this problem will require a thorough analysis so that we emerge with concrete and tangible interventions in this regard. Let me quote from the ANC Strategic and Tactics document adopted in Polokwane in 2007. It says the following: the main content of the NDR is the liberation of Africans in particular and blacks in general from political and socio-economic bondage. It means uplifting the quality of lives of all South Africans, especially the poor, the majority of whom are African and female. At the same time, it has the effect of liberating the white community from the false ideology of racial superiority and the insecurity attached to oppressing others. The hierarchy of disadvantage suffered under apartheid will naturally inform the magnitude of impact of the program of change and the attention paid particularly to those who occupied the lowest rungs of the apartheid social order, close quote. But it goes further to say, a nation's success depends also on its ability to encourage, harness, and incorporate into its endeavors the creativity, daring, and energy of the youth. This relates to such issues as access to social and economic opportunities, engendering activism around issues of development and values of community solidarity, and creating the space for youth creativity to flourish, close quote. I'm extensively referring to the 2007 strategy and tactics because it articulates the critical tasks that we must focus on in this epoch of the national democratic revolution. We must, however, caution that the task of building a nation is an ongoing process. I would therefore like to congratulate the leadership of the ANC Youth League for placing on the agenda the liberation of Africans in particular and blacks in general from political and socio-economic constraints and for emphasizing economic freedom. Program Director, this year is more than 30 years since the advent of our freedom and democracy. The task of transforming South Africa into a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic and united and prosperous society remains the agenda of the ANC and indeed that of the ANC Youth League. I'm very confident that this NGC will take resolutions that will contribute towards the renewal of the ANC as an organization so that it can respond to the challenges of our ever-changing and dynamic society. The leadership of the ANC Youth League must always remember that the League must strive to galvanize and place itself at the center of the broader spectrum of youth organizations for reconstruction and development. Having said this, some of the key tasks and areas that we believe must be central to the discussion throughout this NGC include the following. Firstly, we must recognize that the political program of the ANC Youth League of the 1940s remains guiding for navigating present challenges. The emphasis of African nationalism and the self-determination of blacks in general and Africans in particular is a political discourse that should never be lost in the structures of the ANC Youth League. More explicitly, the commitment and emphasis on the struggle for economic, cultural, educational, and political emancipation of the African people should never be lost. While we acknowledge that over the last 30 years we have made significant achievements in building a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society, the most relevant task of the ANC Youth League and the youth of South Africa revolve around economic freedom and empowerment. In keeping with the commitment made in the 1940s, this generation of today, together with the leadership of the ANC, must prioritize job creation, skills development, and entrepreneurship opportunities to tackle the high unemployment rates amongst young South Africans. Also, We must emphasize the importance of quality education, vocational training, and digital literacy to equip the youth with the skills required for the modern job market. We must emerge with innovative ways to promote economic empowerment through initiatives like youth-owned businesses, access to funding, and mentorship programs to foster economic growth and reduce inequality. We know that this is not a new discussion. However, an honest reflection as informed by high unemployment rates, especially amongst the youth, suggests that different and more drastic measures are required, and this must be provided by the youth for the youth. We must encourage the youth to embrace diversity, promote social justice, and work towards the youth to embrace diversity and work towards a united South Africa. Both the anti-apartheid and post-apartheid struggles have been waged over the years, provide evidence that South Africa in many ways epitomizes a commitment to social justice, and as activists, this remains paramount. We must advocate for transparency, accountability, and effective governance to ensure that the youth concerns are addressed and their future is secure. We believe that by focusing on these key areas, the ANC Youth League can reinvigorate its message, inspire the youth, and contribute to a brighter future for South Africa. Comrades, we are approaching the year 2030, an important year for South Africa, as it marks the global goals outlined in our National Development Plan, and also a momentum year for the global sustainable goals. Regrettably, we have not achieved the yearly goals as outlined by the United Nations process, nor have we made the needed progress to give positive report on the National Development Plan's targets. This calls for action that leaves no one behind and can speedily lurch into what could be possible areas where much progress can take place. As a country, we have traversed challenging and tumultuous times where we were able to see the collective strength and resilience that we possess. We went through the apartheid system, our transition towards democracy, HIV epidemic, and COVID-19 pandemic, amongst others. This means, comrades, that with the correct revolutionary compass, we have what it takes to tackle the challenges that confronts us today. This NGC is indeed one of the most important meetings that the ANC Youth League will hold. It takes place in a political climate that has seen, amongst other things, electoral support for the ANC significantly dwindling, the increased emergence of a number of political parties, the intensified onslaught on the ANC and what it stands for, and the reality that has forced us into a coalition government under the GNU, which further sharpens contradictions that challenges the hegemony of the ANC and our progressive politics. However, comrades, we must never see this as defeat, but rather a strategic setback that once more must galvanize us into action to rebuild our structures and reconnect with our people. We must therefore be more strategic in determining the key tasks to address in order to shape our program of action going forward. These must include, but not limited to, accelerating economic growth, investing in education and skills, promoting innovation and entrepreneurship, and the development of new industries with a focus on new technology and digital transformation. We must also continue to build a capable and effective state by strengthening institutions, improving governance, enhancing capacity of the state to deliver services, drive development, and intensify the fight against crime and corruption. Lastly but not least, we must foster social cohesion and inclusion by promoting social cohesion, reducing inequality, and ensuring that all citizens have access to opportunities and resources. In reconstructing what the approach to this task should be, we must also guard against what we have made in key areas, what we have achieved in key areas, especially as it relates to addressing inequality in ways that it shows itself, and also ensuring that the inclusion of women, youth, and people in rural areas, LGBTQ and IA+, and rural marginalized people remains a priority for us. I urge you, comrade delegates, to use this opportunity to cast your eyes beyond 2030 and think of a South Africa we want by 2055, which will be the centenary of the Freedom Charter. This year we are celebrating 70 years of the Freedom Charter. In this regard, we must revisit the Freedom Charter and internalize what it envisioned for South Africa. The ANC Youth League must organize activities that will draw young people to learn and act in line with the vision of the Freedom Charter. When the year 2055 arrives, the ANC Youth League and the ANC of Oliver Tambo and Nelson Mandela, we must be able to share a story of victory, a story of hope, and a story that resembles the future society it envisaged. We must be able to say that the blood and sweat of those who died for this country was not in vain. In history, comrades, we have learned from other countries, such as the Asian Tigers, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, who have successfully grown their economies in a relatively short space of time. We too can do it. The changes in the global political economy, the strengthening of BRICS countries, the challenges that we see now in the United States of America are testament to the fact that things are and have been changing. South Africa must have a story of its own to tell in this context. As the Trump administration imposes 30% tariffs on South African goods, we must explore other destinations and diversify our markets. We must therefore engage countries like China, India, Russia, and countries in the East and the European Union. We must, however, continue to engage the US to achieve an agreement that will be beneficial to our country. However, we should not go to the White House on our knees begging. We know, comrades, that the agenda of Trump is actually regime change. We know that. So we must never go there and feel defeated. But we will engage them. Comrades, we must also continue our solidarity with the people of Palestine, Western Sahara, with the people of Swaziland, and countries that are continuing, that their people are continuing to struggle for justice, freedom, and democracy. Let's continue to support them. In November of this year, we will host the G20. Some meetings have already taken place, like meetings of central banks and ministers of finance. Our theme is solidarity, equality, and sustainability. We have decided, comrades, as South Africa, that we will use our presidency of the G20 to also advance the interests of the African continent. We will use the program of the G20 to assist advancing the AU Agenda 2063, which is building the Africa we want. We have also started with the process of the national dialogue, which will culminate into a national dialogue next year, June 2026. Comrade delegates, much more still needs to be done. However, I am confident that the resolutions you will adopt in this NGC will chart a better way forward for the youth of this generation and those to come. I call upon the ANC Youth League to get involved in building strong branches of the ANC and make sure that all members of the ANC Youth League undergo the foundation course. I'm sure many of you have already done so. It's always important to learn about our own revolution. So that course is very important. Comrade delegates, as I close, I would like to quote from one of the founders of the ANC Youth League, former President Nelson Mandela, when he said, and I quote, "Young people are capable, when aroused, of bringing down the towers of oppression and raising the banners of freedom." Close quote. I therefore urge you, young lions, to ensure that radical economic transformation will happen in your lifetime. No surrender, no retreat, victory is certain. I wish you a successful General Council. May revolutionary ideas for change be born amongst you. Let me leave you with these profound words of Frantz Fanon, a philosopher, a Marxist, when he said, "Each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it." Close quote. Fellow delegates, in this National General Council, it is your opportunity to decide whether you will fulfill your mission or betrayed. I have no doubt that in the spirit of our former ANC Youth League President, Comrade Peter Mukaba, you will rise to the occasion. There was an issue raised earlier by one of the comrades about students being taken to a credit bureau. I have been informed that Comrade Parks is meeting with other relevant ministers to address that problem. I don't know where it emanated from. I can assure you, comrades, that we will resolve it to the best interests of our young people. Mandla, Matla, Asina Mona, Asina Nzondo, Saidumisi ANC. Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Long live the ANC Youth League, long live. Hi hule ANC Youth League, hi hule. Hi tie ANC Youth League, hi tie. All power. Thank you, comrade.